Welcome to this week's Desk Side Chat. The topic of conversation for this week is serving small business owner clients. Mark Hegstrom is our featured guest. Mark, appreciate you joining us.
Thank you, John. Glad to be here.
Appreciate you making time for this special arrangement. We had Mark on the docket this morning for our regularly scheduled meeting, and Mark was in at the doctor. Actually, jumped on from the doctor's office to share a few points, but then I think they took your phone away and wouldn't let you talk anymore, right?
Yeah, it was pretty funny actually. You had sent me a text to say, well, do you want to just get on? And so I hit the button and I'm on the phone on doing the webinar this morning, and this appointment had gone over an hour and a half, believe it or not. This cataract surgery, crazy that I would need cataract.
Yeah. Why? Yeah.
But anyway, it was so very funny when this doctor and technician walked in. They knocked on the door into the treatment room and opened up the door, and there I am on the Zoom meeting talking about this. It was they thought they were in the wrong room. I should have said I should have had him come back in an hour, right?
It was good multitasking. Well, I appreciate you making time to record this later, and this will be posted so that we can continue this conversation. Again, topic is serving small business owner clients. You certainly came to mind when this topic came up. Co-founder of Waterfront Financial Group, Mark, in business owner succession strategies has been something that you've really pursued and poured a lot into. And I'd love for you to share a little bit, if you can provide a little bit of background on Waterfront and your experience as an advisor, and then we'll transition into boss.
Sure. That sounds great. Yeah, Waterfront Financial Group is an independent wealth management firm that we clear through LPL and have since 2010. We left our broker dealer. We used to be in a wirehouse, and we left back in 2010 to pursue the idea, actually, of exit planning. And we found that structure wasn't amenable to the essence of what we were trying to do. They were hoping that we would do something else, and we wanted to do this work with the business owners in a different way, and thought that we would be better served to go independent. You know, what's interesting, John, is that we actually were doing seminars around the country on exit and succession planning. And it was in 2012 and 13 and 14. And you know what's interesting is that it was too early. But we did lay an important framework, an important groundwork out there. But if you look at who owns businesses out there today, some 60% of businesses are owned by baby boomers. And if you graph them out on a graph of when they were born and how old they are, and where they were in 2012, well, they were 10 years younger than this, right? And they did not, some of them were on the younger side, perhaps, and didn't think they were ready for exit planning. I would say that that's probably one of the number one things I run into is the word exit. People say, what the heck does that mean? Exiting the planet? Or exiting, what do you mean? I don't want to exit my business. And the thing of it is, really, is that everybody's going to exit their business. And all business owners will exit their business. That voluntarily or involuntarily, on purpose or not on purpose, horizontal or vertical, no matter what, they're going to exit their business. You know, what's funny is I was talking to a prospect last week, and he had come to a seminar I gave, and we were talking about the program and everything, and I said, yeah, I mean, we call them the 5 Ds: death, disability, disaster, divorce, and disagreement. Those 5 Ds can hit any business owner at any time. But if you've left third base and retirement's home plate, that might affect you a lot more than it would, somebody who is just getting started, might be in their 30s, for example. And so I'm explaining this to this guy, and he said, well, as a matter of fact, he's very quiet and talked kind of slow. And he said, well, on December 26th, my heart stopped. I said, really? I said, how long? And he said, 20 minutes. I said, 20 minutes? Seems like an awfully long time. He said, yeah, they were working on getting it going, and they finally got it going and kept it going. And he said, I got lost a bunch of ribs and broken ribs, and they cut me open, and it's a much bigger thing than just sitting around for 20 minutes doing it. But then he recovered, and I said, well, Alan, what have you done about this since then? Since that was about 10 months ago. Well, I haven't really done anything. And I said, what do you think about that? What happens if your heart stops going again? What will happen? I mean, you've had something happen suddenly. That's one of the big reasons to do exit and succession planning. When you talk about succession planning, there's two kinds. There's owner succession and there's management succession. And I'm talking about the owner leaving the business and getting ready for that, for something that could occur. Every one of us, that gentleman that was just on the call with us, he's driving his car and he's participating and listening, and bam, all of a sudden something could happen. And that could happen to any one of us at any time. And we always have to be ready. That's one of the most important aspects of having a plan, is knowing that you're ready.
And you eat your own cooking. I was gonna have you share a little bit about your practice and just eating your own cooking from this philosophy.
Yeah. Fortunately, knock on wood, my heart hasn't just stopped. But when you look at exit and succession planning, and you start to take stock, if you wanted to understand this whole process, it might help to know that on Wednesday, June 30th of 2032, beginning at 4 p.m, that's when my retirement party starts.
I didn't know you had the time of day. It's 4 p.m.
It's on the calendar, right? We're going to start early, right? And on July the 1st, that's a Thursday, I'm probably going to go golfing. Now, I don't have a tee time yet, but that's my plan. And as a matter of fact, that July 1st, that Thursday, is the first day of the next 8,000 days, God willing. So if you added up 8,000 and divided it by 365 days, you would know that 22-year span is the final chapter. We have 4 chunks of those times, those 8,000 days. And so I have thought a lot about those 8,000 days. In fact, I thought so much about it, I have even figured out how much I think it's going to cost me to have a couple of memberships in a couple of different states to go, because I like to go golfing a lot. I would like to have property in a couple of states. I'd like to have a cabin that I can go to. I'd like to be able to pay all those property taxes and all of the things associated with owning that. I have calculated when and how old my grandchildren will be and what we intend to do and how much we want to travel. And we've laid out a whole bunch of things, and I've actually calculated exactly how much money I would like to have on a monthly basis. Once I figure that out, that number, and then I take and consider how much money I'm likely to have saved by then, I then know the number that my business needs to net when I sell it. And so if I were going to save $1 million, let's say, for just round numbers, but let's just say that I needed $3 million. Well, then I need to net $2 million from the sale of my business. Now, if I go out out that 10 years and say, I need a net 2 million. Well, how much do I need to gross? Well, because I live in this state, I get to pay extra taxes. So I can avoid that by doing something like move. Right? That'd be one thing. But there are those, if everything stayed the same, I'd pay approximately 10% in capital gains taxes here. And then I have federal capital gains taxes. If I had to pay somebody to help me sell my business, I'd have to add that cost in too. So the 2 million isn't what I sell my business for, right? It's 3.2 million or 3.5 million, so that there's all these people that work for me too on my team. And I want to help them out for helping me out for all these years. I want to give them some thank yous. And that's going to come from the proceeds of the sale of my business. And so I've calculated all that to be the growth. So if you think of this time frame at the bottom of this 10 years that I have left, and we call that A squared. And then we call this number up here on this side, let's say in this example, it's $3.5 million. We call that B squared. You remember what A squared plus B squared equals?
C squared is C squared.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's the hypotenuse, right? And the hypotenuse is a straight line, but not in the reality of my business. The reality of my business and your business is that it's parabolic, right? It's like a J. So it's a compounded annual growth rate. So actually, I could take a financial calculator and say 10 years, this is the future value. This is the present value. What is the rate, compounded annual rate of return? That's the rate that I have to grow my business today over 10 years to have this amount of money to pay the government, to pay the business broker, to net this, to go with my savings, to pay for the 8,000 days. That's what an exit plan is from a financial planning perspective. And that's what we develop with Boss. And we do everything that we recommend inside of our Boss program, we have done here. And it's been powerful to do our own plan to really understand how this all is going to work out.
So, Mark, what you mentioned that particular client who had an event occur, so you would think this would be something that they might want to jump on right away. What is the biggest challenge that you see for your business, the clients that you come in contact with, to get them to actually start putting these plans into place? Like, what's holding people up from actually putting these plans into place?
Yeah. It's a great question. It's one I've considered a lot. And the reason is because we have a marketing department their job is to generate leads. And we generate these leads. These business owners know they need to do it. Okay. In fact, as I'm president of the Exit Planning Institute, the metro area, Twin Cities, Minnesota chapter, if you will. And there are about 24 chapters around the country. And we have done a survey. In fact, we're going to redo it next year. But this was done in 2017, and it's been done many times. And the same conclusions come up. And it says that 99% of business owners agree that they should have a written exit plan. Okay. On the next page, it shows a pie graph of how many people actually have done in a written exit plan, and very few have. If you add all the people who have thought about it, you get halfway there. But thinking about it is like do you have a strategic plan for growth next year? I don't mean you, John. I mean you in general. I remember talking to another financial advisor. I said, do you have your marketing plan in place for next year? And he kind of looks like this. He goes, yeah. And I said, well, do you have it written down and specifically laid out what you're going to do and how you're going to get there and how you got there? He goes, I got it all right here. And I said, you know, that's where a lot of people keep their plans. And those aren't called plans. Those are called wishes, hopes, and dreams. And while that's important, that's not what gets the job done. That's not counting KPIs. I was just looking at this. I've got this on the wall. My operations manager made this for me, and she thought that this would be a good idea. And it says, let's see here. Let's get this by my face. Boss sales funnel. It says how many people need to be put in the top of the funnel so that they come out clients. You can't get it. I'll just tell you what the numbers are. 32 registrations. 8 people show up to the webinar. 4 people have meetings with me to discuss. 2 people become clients. That's our plan. We have many of these funnels all over our office. Everybody is really clear on what we're looking for. When we have our weekly traction meeting, how many people have signed up so far for the webinar? And that how many people actually attended? We count that stuff because this stuff works. We can only take on 2 new business owners a month. And in fact, that's what we do. And by doing that, we're helping 2 people every month begin the most important transition planning of their life.
So 99% of business owners understand or believe that they need to do this. Are there particular industries, particular individuals that you're focusing on with your marketing, or is it broad in terms of the 32 that you're trying to move into the top of that funnel?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. In the beginning, had a wider shotgun of folks that we wanted to attract, and we have figured out the people that we can help the most have a certain kind of value already in their business. And so, for example, I remember helping somebody. He came through a referral, and he was somebody's cousin, and you know how that is. And it was it's a business. It's still an operation, and it was maybe worth $500,000, $600,000. Nothing wrong with that. There's probably millions of those businesses in the country. Okay. And we actually work with a group that's has a little bit higher EBITDA. That's earnings before interest and taxes and depreciation and amortization. Basically, it means that we take the profit of the business and add back certain things. And that number times something like 3 or 4 or 5 is the value of the discounted profits in the future. And that is the value. That is one major way companies are valued, is by a multiple of EBITDA. And so we like to work with companies that have an EBITDA of 500,000 and above, because the 500,000 times 5 is going to get 4 or 5 is going to get you to 2.5 million, and we can help in that area. We like them bigger than that, but that's sort of where we like to draw our lines and to help people to understand if we can help them.
And speaking of drawing lines, how does the planning that you're doing on the succession side, how does that align with what you're doing on the financial planning side? Or do those things connect? Are they separate? How does that work for you, Mark?
Well, we have a separate DBA called Business Owner Succession Strategies, and we have a website that's businessownersuccessionstrategies.com. We also have a waterfrontfinancialgroup.com website, and they're completely separate, and we keep them separate. So when we do the marketing for the exit planning, what we do, the way we approach that is we are looking to help people create exit plans. And when I get these 4 meetings that I'm going to have this month, and I ask them if they're financially prepared. And they say, well, I have a financial planner. I say, that's great because every one of our clients has a financial planner already. And so we work with the business owner on their business, which I will tell you, for many business owners, especially the ones I just described, it is their most important asset.
Sure.
And because it's their most important asset, they need somebody that knows their oatmeal, somebody that's going to be able to help them through to get through this transition. And that's the essence of what we do. We've got a 4-month process. We take exit planning and break it down into 4 phases. The first phase is 4 months. And in that 4-month period, every 2 weeks or twice a month, we have a 90-minute meeting with the business owner on Zoom. In fact, I invented this before it became popular. We are, by doing that, we are able to serve everybody in the United States. And we do. We have clients all over the country. We work with franchises and we go to franchising conventions. We give seminars and webinars. And by ingraining ourselves in their programs and in their systems, and we really understand how they operate, amazing things happen. They keep calling us. So that's great. And so what we do on the 8 meetings is we have an 8-meeting agenda where everybody gets the same thing. The great thing for me is that they're always different, but we follow the same process. We have a process for every aspect of BOSS. Like we have one for every aspect in our company. All of our processes are written down. They're all implemented by our operations manager. And that makes our business more attractive because there's a game plan. There's a specific process. We operate under the Entrepreneur's Operating System, or EOS. We talk about those things with each business owner and how their business is attractive or not attractive. But you know what happens is somewhere along the way, the business owner, we do not ask, this just happens. This is the God's truth. Will you manage our money? Yes, we have Waterfront Financial Group. We have a team of people. We'll set that up for you. Yep, absolutely. And we continue to do the BOSS program with the business owner. So through the 4 months, we end up delivering the exit plan, and then they need help implementing it, which we move into. Then they need help building value, which is the period of time that we continue working with them to make their business more valuable. You know, I just got off of a call that went almost 2 hours today because when somebody goes through the process, then we meet with them on a quarterly basis, and we spent a couple of hours meeting with them. And he brought his CPA on today, and it was interesting. This particular client had said, well, not today, but in the past, he said, well, I took your advice. And I said, really? What is that? He said, well, I told my staff I'm not coming in anymore. I said, really? How did it go? He said, it went great. I said, what are you doing now? He said, right now, I'm planning my next school. He has a school franchise, the daycare school combination down in Texas. And it made me think, boy, the advice that we give does not cost $1.5 million. That's just what it's worth.
What was your original motivation for pursuing the designation, certified exit planning advisor, correct? is the designation. So
Yeah.
pursuing that and pursuing Boss, was it to generate leads for Waterfront? Was it its own separate entity, or what was the motivation behind that for you, Mark?
Well, I will tell you that I have a spreadsheet that shows you can do this yourself. You can put the years until you're going to exit, because you're going to exit. You can go out on top, or you can go out, however you want to go. But you figure out the time. And then you can take your production for this year, what it'll likely be. And then you can take and calculate what your net new assets are. We know exactly how much money comes in and how much money goes out and how much we end up accruing. And then that number we think could grow because of market factors. We use a very small number for that. And you could figure out how much your revenue will be and what your valuation will be. Right now, businesses have a wide range of valuations, but one might be two times, let's see, 2 times recurring revenue plus 1 times non-recurring revenue would be a more conservative number. Right? And so I've got a spreadsheet. You could make this. You spend 1 hour and you've got this whole thing. You know exactly how much your business is going to be worth. You can figure out how much the capital gains tax is going to be and all that. Then I've got this whole spreadsheet next to it that's called the boss impact. And I looked at the number that I'm on track to get. I really wouldn't have to work that hard, quite frankly. I could just kind of keep our business going, just like a lot of people get the referrals that are coming in. But I've got a lot of energy and excitement and passion for helping business owners, and I want to do that. I'm 57, and I want to do that hard till I'm 62. And kind of like when you're running the boat towards the dock, and you got both throttles down, and you pull back on those things, the boat kind of goes like that, and it planes out, and it coasts in that last 5 years. That's the way that's going to look for me. So I put the boss impact of what it would mean to get 2 new business owners with all of the assumptions that we have discovered over the last 4 years in this business of developing this 4-phase program. And curiously, my valuation more than doubles by doing that. When I take my share of the business from that, and then I take the capital gains tax, it precisely provides the exact amount of money I need each month for the 8,000 days of my retirement. That's why I do it. I'm looking for a mega trend. I was looking for you might remember when I had the divorce certification several years ago, and I built a business around that. In fact, I still get calls all the time, but I've dropped it. I found out this I do not have a passion for. It's the slowest boat to China. There's a lot of fighting. I just can't stand it. Even though I've got experience with it, I don't like it. So I let that go, and I said, what other mega trend is out there? And I think if you think about this mega trend of business owners and that they're going to need to exit their business, and quite honestly, you got to know something about it in order to keep them as clients. And so we have a lot of business owner clients, and I want to keep them. So that's why I got the designation. The designation lets people know that I know what I'm doing. That and we also wanted to grow and double our business. That was the reason.
No, that makes a ton of sense. And I know there are advisors out there that, may not be looking to grow, this part of the business, or may not be looking to tap into, but certainly would want to retain those clients. And I think that in and of itself could be incentive to either become an expert yourself or try to align with somebody, that might be able to assist you. And I wanted to briefly touch on that as well, because I know some advisors have reached out to you as a resident expert to assist them with some of their business owner clients.
Yeah, it's obviously if somebody's going to reach out with their client that they want to keep, boy, that's a real nod. I don't take that lightly. I understand that completely. What they're doing is putting me in front of their client, knowing that I could do what they do. But I go about that with the honor that comes from that. So we will get a fee for doing our phase one. There will be in phase two, they'll need to move that forward and get the legal and the insurance done, and there'll be a way for us to split that up a little bit, and then to keep on going. If they want to keep on going, we'll still be their consultant, but you keep the assets and you keep the asset management fee and so forth. But that's why we charge a fee, is because we don't have to get the assets in order to be paid. And it's a big departure from how we used to give away a lot of free financial plans back in the day. And now these financial plans are business owner exit plans, and they are very, very valuable.
Yeah, if nothing else, a diversification of revenue, another source, even if it is separate and distinct. But obviously, like you were saying earlier, when you are the primary individual, and so not in this referral sense. I mean, there's those business owners in many cases, like you said, you don't even ask, and they come to you like, "Hey, will you manage? Will you help us on this front?" So, lots and lots of opportunity, lots of things to learn and become an expert in. And so certainly we're fortunate in the Good Advisors Finish First community to have you as someone we can lean on, and
Yeah,
advisors can reach out to directly. But I know you are doing some ongoing training and seminars as well. So before we sign off, Mark, if you could let everyone who's listening kind of know some ways that they can learn a little bit more in addition to reaching out to you directly.
absolutely. You certainly can get a hold of me directly through the circle, and I'd be glad to meet with you and show you some of the things that we've done. I believe in giving it back. I don't worry about competition. I only need to help 2 new business owners a month, and they're all over the country. So I'm perfectly happy to help people to understand how they could possibly do this. But at the same time, I will say this: I've had financial advisors. I've had one sign up for our phase one, and to go through and pay the fee and get the financial plan and get the business owner exit plan and help them. Boy, I know this business pretty cut and dry, the wealth management business, and how you make that business more attractive and more valuable. So I believe that business owners should be educated. And as the president of the Exit Planning Institute, I host a meeting every month. You can look us up, Exit Planning Institute. I think there are dashes in there, exit-planning-institute.org, and then go to the Twin Cities chapter. But you'll find me when you type any of that stuff in there. And then each month, I also do a webinar. We have a what we call the Deeper Dive webinar series, and we do one on management succession planning. We do another one on retirement planning. What's your freedom point? We do another one on estate planning and getting your house in order. And the fourth one in the series is maximizing business value. And so I have these compliant seminars that we do through Prezi, and I do them online just like we're doing this. And I do it every month with regularity. And every month I get people to sign up, and that creates meetings for me to have and so forth. But our next one is on the third Wednesday of next month, and it's on the freedom point. And it really describes what I was talking about having enough money for those 8,000 days and how you actually figure it out in a real life scenario that it's worth listening, worth attending. So you can find that on LinkedIn. You can also find it on our website at businessownersuccessionstrategies.com.
Outstanding. I'll include those links when I post this video. And again, really appreciate you being an expert for us to lean on and for sharing your insight and expertise. Really appreciate you joining us, Mark. Thank you.
Absolutely. And thank you. I appreciate this a lot. Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
All right.